Hi everyone, welcome to the channel of Political Science Tutorials. Already 9 videos are on MCQs in this channel. This is the 10th one. Request you to watch those for your class exams or competitive exams related with political science. Hope these videos will help you a lot. In this video, we will discuss about some questions related with John Rawls, Robert Nozick and Isaiah Berlin's political thoughts. Already separate videos have been uploaded in this channel. Here are some questions from previous year's NET exams and some questions as expected. Here first question is, which is not a part of Rawls's well-ordered society? Stable, efficient, just, equal. The answer is D. 4. Though 4 options are seemingly part of Rawls's justice, but the answer will be D or equal. This is not a part of Rawls' well-ordered society. His well-ordered society consists of stability, effectiveness and justice, but not on equality. Rawls justified unequal treatment and suggests that sometimes unequal treatment is justified to treat people unequally, where unequal treatment results in improvements for everyone. And to attain welfare of the society as a whole, it is necessary. In this regard, he suggested taxation is a legitimate means for the government. The more wealthy people should pay more tax for the welfare of the society. Thus, he justified unequal treatment, and for this reason, equal will be the right answer, which is not a part of Rawls' well-ordered society. Now, MCQ number 2. The concept of value pluralism is related with which thinker? J. S. Mill, Isaiah Berlin, John Rawls, Robert Nozick. Here the answer is Isaiah Berlin. From the early 1990s, value pluralism has come to be seen by many as Berlin's master idea. Before that, in 1958, he came into limelight for his 2 concepts of liberty. Later, he developed the concept of value pluralism, which is also related with his concept of liberty. Now, the question is what he meant by value pluralism. Value pluralism is a concept of value plurality, or you can say that in many cases, there is no single right answer between 2 or more values. So, conflict is inevitable. This possibility of conflict and of tragedy to choose the right one is a difficult job, and it can never wholly be eliminated from human life, either personal or social. The necessity of choosing between absolute claims is then an inescapable characteristic of the human condition. Now, let us try to understand what he meant by this concept and how he clarified it. Berlin argues that not only freedom or liberty is the only value, there is a plurality of values like equality, justice and the like. And it is not possible for all these values to all be fully instantiated or adjust together. So, he suggests that individuals have certain inherent traits which are unique as their nature or character, because we have to accept that every person is unique, and at the same time their thought process also unique, which cannot be wholly altered or obscured, or you can say these are not a matter of change. So, individuals make decisions about who they will be and what they will do according to their choice, and it depends on how that particular individual thinks. In other words, it can be said that the choice which they made is thus both an expression of an individual personality and part of what makes that personality, and it is essential to the human self and essential for their liberty. In other words, without this freedom of choice, individual cannot enjoy their liberty. Here is our third question. Which of the following statements of John Rawls' theory of justice is not true? It is primarily concerned with the issue of distributive justice. It is true. His theory primarily concerned with the issue of distributive justice. Second, justice as fairness is a theory designed to apply the basic structure, the political, social and economic institutions of society. This is also true. The first principle of justice is equal basic liberty principle. Yes, this is also true. The one of the conditions of the second principle is indifference principle. This is wrong. So, the answer is the one of the conditions of the second principle is indifference principle. This is wrong one. In Rawls' theory of justice, he suggested two principles of justice, and these are liberty principle and difference principle. The principles of justice, liberty principle and difference principle would be selected in the original position. In option D, it is mentioned indifference principle. So, this statement is wrong. Our fourth MCQ is Rawlsian concept of justice is based on distributive principle, agreement principle, difference principle, joint method principle. Here the answer will be distributive justice or option A, because his concept of justice mainly based on distributive justice. Already we have seen in the previous question, and he suggested that two principles of justice would be selected in the original position. First is liberty principle and second is difference principle. So, here should be no confusion whether the answer will be distributive principle or difference principle. Here the sure answer is distributive principle. Fifth question is the doctrine of overlapping consensus is advocated by Berlin, Barry, Nozick, Rawls. The answer is D. Rawls. Like many other concepts of Rawls, as justice as fairness, original position, veil of ignorance, he used his famous concept of overlapping consensus. By this he meant there are many issues where consensus is not possible in a society, because societies consist of different race, different religion, different sex, etc. But there are some issues in which the citizens would agree to exclude some unreasonable doctrines. Maybe they will differ in many issues, but there will be some issues in which citizens would agree to exclude some unreasonable doctrines. This perception of citizens with worldview Rawls see as overlapping consensus. He considered this as a module which will fit into any number of worldviews that citizens might have. In this slide, I have mentioned the name of the famous books of Rawls for your quick revision. Rawls first set out justice as fairness in systematic detail. We see in his book written in the year 1971, A Theory of Justice. He continued to rework justice as fairness throughout his life, restating his theory in Political Liberalism, published in the year 1993, The Law of Peoples, published in the year 1999, The Justice as Fairness, published in the year 2001. Sixth MCQ is, who said negative liberty is superior to positive liberty? J. S. Mill, Isaiah Berlin, T. H. Green, Ernest Barker. The right answer is Isaiah Berlin. In his essay, Two Concepts of Liberty, which was published in the year 1958, Berlin described his concept of negative liberty. He defines negative liberty as political liberty is simply the area within which a man can act unobstructed by others. Here the main important word is unobstructed. Only negative liberty can be enjoyed without obstruction. Obstruction equal to unfreedom and coercion. And coercion and freedom cannot exist together. Here he used the statement in case of negative liberty is, I am slave to no man. On the other hand, positive liberty in Berlin's language, freedom is the opportunity to act, not action itself, the possibility of action, not necessarily that dynamic realization of it. Or here the concept of positive liberty seems to require the presence of something, that is of control, self-mastery, self-realization, self-determination, etc. Here he used the statement, I am master of my own. Number 7 MCQ is, which form of justice is not a part of Nozick's entitlement theory? Justice in acquisition, justice in transfer, justice in rectification, justice in redistribution. Here the answer is D, justice in redistribution. The idea of redistribution through distributive principle was the main theme of Rawls' theory of justice, and Nozick was a hard critic of this principle. According to Nozick, redistribution makes others a part owner of you, giving them a property right in you, and which never can be justified. So he suggests his theory of entitlement, where he introduced the idea of justice in acquisition, justice in transfer, and justice in rectification. Last question is, whose statement is this? Positive freedom have led at times to a specious disguise for brutal tyranny. J. S. Mill, T. H. Green, Isaiah Berlin, C. B. Macpherson. The answer is Isaiah Berlin. Berlin accepted that though both liberty, negative and positive, are important for the development of individuals' individuality, still positive liberty has a tendency to turn into tyranny, and historically it has been developed. Here he specially mentioned the emancipatory theories like democracy, communism, republicanism, nationalism, etc., which may lead to generate a tyranny by the majority. It can be risky for minorities in these countries which are following these theories to enjoy their liberty. For example, he used fascist and communist regimes where positive liberty leads to the path of tyranny. I have discussed elaborately in the video on Isaiah Berlin, so please refer that. Hope the discussed answers of MCQs in this episode, in this part, are clear to you. We'll come back with new video All the best for your forthcoming exams. Thanks for watching.